Hello and welcome back to our Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition Curse of Strahd. Although we will not be looking at the main characters today. Instead, we will be looking at another story happening. After all, the main group of heroes was part of a guild of Waterdeep, a rather famous guild that just recently helped defend the city from a horde of demon invaders. And in the end, the day was won, but Waterdeep was severely damaged and destroyed. Throughout the weeks, the guild has been constantly asked for help upon security, investigation, missing persons, retrieving cats out of trees, etc., etc., etc. And although some of these tasks are mundane, it pays well, and the guild has plenty of work. There is still smoke strewn about over the city, making a dark cloud that hovers over Waterdeep, making the city look as if though it was just the site of an ancient fierce battle. And well, for a time there, it was. Our story takes us to our group in the guild, simply relaxing in the guild's tavern. This is a large guild house. There is a bar, there is a restaurant, even a couple shops built in to this secluded area. And it is a wide, vast, mobile area. 3 floors of basically this tavern. The bottom floor, the second, and then the top. Each one with its own bar, its own restaurant, and its own set of shops. It is a massive place. We now go to our, shall we say, characters, sitting at a table, minding whatever business they wish to do. Why they are there, it is up to them. What they are doing, it is up to them. But they are in the tavern in one way or another. And we turn the story now to them. A great feast has just been brought out to anyone who wishes to indulge in it. Tonight it is chicken pot pie, a mass roast, you would guess boar, and other minor sides with wine and ale poured out all over, or set out all over the massive table that is in the second floor of this particular bar room. There are many other patrons there. Some of them you know well, some of them you don't know well. But all of them you've seen around and at least have decent acquaintance with. Maybe at least know their names or at least know some of the things they can do, or maybe have just barely met them. But most anyone you see here is definitely another guild member and has proved themselves in one way or another. Typically, what a lot of people don't understand about the Guild of Waterdeep is that although it is a profitable guild that pays well, gives good work, and provides many allies and resources, it is a very difficult guild to get into. For in order to get into the guild, you must accomplish a challenge, whether it be through physical might, a test of skill, or a test of willpower. But any person who enters the guild and becomes an honorary member must face the most difficult thing in their world that they could do. For some, this is slaying a dragon. For others, this could be accepting a family loss and moving on. For others, it could be simply showing their face. As long as it is a very difficult task that the person does and can accomplish it, then they can enter the guild. But enough on sadness and unpleasantries. Resuming back to the feast, the three of you may choose to do as you wish. There are a couple new guild members that walk in. They are veterans, shall we say, and they look around. Let us start from left to right. Jameson, what is your character doing, and what does he look like?
Currently, my character, he's just going ham on the boar, taking a big portion, getting a lot of the pot pie, and with a smile on his face, just goes to take a seat and eat. He pulls his blonde hair out of his face because Surprisingly enough, he already got some of the freaking sauce from the pie in his hair. He's minding his own business, eating, kind of listening on others' conversations, and just enjoying some good food.
Indeed. It is nice and warm in this tavern. The heat radiates from several of the fireplaces, which is matching considering as how it is pouring rain outside at the moment, and very
Mm,
cold. It's actually one of the coldest nights that any of you have ever experienced in Waterdeep. So, Jameson, you are going about eating and enjoying the food, which is always, to your surprise, always so delicious. It's a
indeed.
wonder of how they do it. Although you do know the chefs, and they are experienced chefs. Moving to the right. Jester, what are you doing at this moment? And what do people see if they look at you?
Oh, that's the thing. They don't see anything. I'm skulking around, getting a lay about people. It's a hobby of mine. The pleasantries of this feast are but a mere hindrance to my duties. But,
Roll me a stealth check at advantage.
oh, gladly. That is a 29, my dear friend.
Alright. There are some very experienced members of the guild. Let's see if anyone notices you are there. Oh, that one certainly does. So, oh, and that one certainly does with a natural 20. Um, there appear to be only two or three guild members out of the 26 or so people on this floor that know you are there, and you know that they know you are there, because one of them, as you're sneaking by, you would normally just kind of walk by them, but they see you and they step out of your way and they give you a nod to move past.
There are some that can see past my ploys, but not for long. But anyway, the pleasantries are not enjoyable to me. The people, though, now that's the fun part.
Most of these patrons are members of your guild, people you have either worked with or at least seen in action at least one point or another. However, there are a lot of civilians and people that do come into the guild and actually hire on as barmaids, chefs, cleaners, janitorial staff, etc., etc. You can tell because they are the only people in the guild house that don't wear the guild insignia badges. But there are quite a few civilians, and they're mostly people earning pay from the guild, since the guild is a fairly wealthy establishment. Moving to the far right now. Ophelia, I believe is the name.
Yes, I believe that I would be mingling, speaking, chatting, joking, conversing, perhaps getting a secret or two, spreading a rumor here or there just for fun. But there would rarely be a moment without me not speaking to someone or learning something or claiming someone's doing something. Information is just, it's so interesting. Lies, truth, doesn't really matter in the end.
Would you go ahead and roll me two rolls of your choice, deception or persuasion at advantage, please?
I will do one of each, perhaps. Um, and I don't think that anything else. This is an ability check or a skill check?
Skill check.
Skill check. Okay. And then okay. Persuasion and then deception.
All right. talk around the tavern, using your persuasive and deceptive skills to find out anything. There are some very experienced patrons here, s- and some of them manage to catch what you are doing, and a couple of them kind of look at you. One in particular, a tiefling woman who you know to be a very unique individual who can use her blood to do, well, a rather interesting assortment of things. She actually has a small conversation with you, and she says, Ophelia, I appreciate the silver tongue as much as anyone else, but if you really wanted to know about the supposed vault that's supposedly buried under Waterdeep, all you had to do was ask. You are among friends here.
Oh, but of course, but it's so much more interesting this way. Besides, you caught on to my point anyway, so it all comes full circle.
Well, of course, but I mean, as fun as it was, that poor bar boy. I mean, he just turned 18, and you're now making him sweat. Look at him; he can barely. And you look on over to one of the barkeeps who you had successfully succeeded on your roll with,
Mm-hmm.
and actually, out of everyone, you succeeded with exception of just this one character. And this the barkeep kind of stumbles a bit as he seems to keep glancing back at you. He appears to be a higher on from probably one of the local stable areas, and he does appear to be around young age, maybe around 18 to 21,
Mm-hmm.
and he keeps kind of looking back at you like
Well,
somewhat of awe and lust at the same time.
mm-hmm. Well, I lean towards the tiefling and speak in a more reserved tone. Well, he's a man now. I simply suggested that perhaps someone out of the massive gathering here should provide a man certain activities. Perhaps you will be that person. Bar boy, I have someone I would love to introduce you to.
Vazra kind of smiles and just rolls her eyes at you. The barkeep comes on over and he says, I, yes, ma'am.
Yes, exactly. Very eloquently put. This here is my friend Vasra. And, well, you know what we were talking about before.
Uh,
This is that person.
he is starting to dribble and sweat, and his face is turning about as red as a nice Fuji apple.
Oh, to be young again. Well, I'll leave you two lovebirds to it. Vasra, please don't, remove a limb like you did last time. Anyway, gotta go. Bye!
The barkeep is now like, and Voster just says, "No, sit down, you idiot." And so she takes care of that as you go off. And Vajra kind of just gives you that look of. It's difficult to tell with tieflings sometimes because their eyes are a full color rather than pupils. So she kind of looks at you with the face of that was really funny, but at the same time she's also looking at you with the face with I'm going to trip you someday.
Yeah, Ophelia will just stick her tongue out and go right on to the next conversational partner.
You do so, and the conversation continues onward. Um, you go around continuing to get rumors with those roles. There's literally no one stopping you, and even any people who know exactly what you're doing, they probably will anyway, because you basically have a double advantage. Because not only are you very persuasive, but a lot of the people here have worked with you and they kind of know your shtick, so they're not
Mm-hmm.
going to resist telling you stuff because you're on the team. You know they ain't gonna hide anything
Mm-hmm.
from you. And even when you go up to people who aren't a part of the guild, they got nothing because that was a natural one and a natural two. So yeah, so you won that one. You find out that there's a lot of people who want to come and work for this guild recently because the guild pays well, and due to the destruction of the demon invasion that happened recently, there's been a lot of absence of work for a lot of people because they're getting their shops and everything repaired. So a lot of people want to come here and try and work, but there's only so much that the guild can provide. So there's been a little bit of a competition going on out in the streets between people to try and, get hired here, so to speak. That is definitely something you find around the rumors when you talk to some of the civilians. So, would Jameson like to make any declarations or do anything? And then I'll move on to Jester, and then I will put the story going forward.
Jameson, he's on his third portion of boar. Made a small talk with one person, but probably failed because he's pretty bad at talking to people, even though he's very friendly. And he's just decides to make his way to a corner, sit in a corner, drink some ale, and the bread rolls that are probably sitting on the table.
It's not to worry. There are other people who are not very good at conversation around you. One
Hmm.
person in particular that you did manage to make up a decent conversation with is a very interesting um, looking dwarf who his armor it's seems to be designed a lot differently. It's similar to yours in that it is heavy,
Mm-hmm.
but it's lighter in so pretty much girth, but it has odd looking spikes that actually you have seen him do this. They can retract and they can go in and out. They can basically retract at will. You know him to be Dorn. He is a mountain dwarf, and at least from the rumors or things that you've heard about him, you've never actually seen him in action. But he is apparently a battle rager,
Ooh.
and his battle axe looks just as gnarly as his armor does. He kind of
So
has
also
been.
very spiky.
Yep, he also has a mohawk, which is also a little bit uncommon for dwarves around here.
Fun.
He kind of pipes up after you kind of talk about, just normal things, whatever barbarians would like to talk about. And he eventually does strike up an interesting point. And he says, "Well, oh, by the way, Jameson, if you want some work, I definitely have someone you can talk with."
Oh, and
So
who would that be?
he kind of looks around and he actually gets a little nervous, but then he remembers that he's in the guild house, he's among friends, so he doesn't uh, really need to keep this quiet. So would Ophelia and Jester make me perception checks, DC 18, since he is kind of keeping it quiet still.
Sure.
That would be a 21 from me.
Okay.
17? I don't see. I'm too busy having fun.
Too busy having fun and mingling with the other roomers and patrons. Just
Mm-hmm.
Jester, you happen to walk by though and hear this. As the dwarf leans
Oh.
down in and speaks to you, um, Jameson, he says, "Well, as you know, the guild often does a lot of work with the Emerald Enclave and the supposed unknown band of drow called Brigandierth.
Aye.
Well, it's rumored that we might be having a visitor from one of the higher ups of those organizations, and we might be getting a nice little, shall we say, request for work. So if you see one of the representatives from Brigandierth, or if you see any jobs on that board pop up that are from Brigandierth, or perhaps one of the, well, they won't say Brigandierth out in the open, but you'll know. The pay will be very good.
Ah,
Just thought I'd let you know. I remember the last mission you went out on was you considered a little bit of boring, but after all, you did cave that man's head in with a backhand, which very rarely is seen nowadays.
I'll gladly do it again.
Indeed, you did impressive work out there. Those orcs did not stand a chance. Well done, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, yes, that's nice. But could you please go on about this job a little bit more? As you find Jester just
Mm.
standing right behind you. Just
he
Jameson has
the
Jester standing right behind
Dorn
him.
Dorn
Jameson
does
just
go ahead.
tenses up with a freaking and like takes a bite of a bread roll just like out of stress.
Dorn doesn't even look at you, Jester. He just looks at Jameson and he's like, "Jester's behind me, isn't he?"
Yeah.
Ah, well, well, in case you want to know, Jester, there is some rumors that the band Brigandierth is in Waterdeep now, and they're doing
Oh yes, yes, yes. I heard that
some lovely,
part.
lovely parts.
But is there any more information you can give me? This sounds like it could be fun.
Well,
Just a little bit.
from what I hear, from what I understand, there's rumors going around that there is a little search going for a vault that's under Waterdeep. Supposedly
Oh,
hidden for centuries, it was left over by Lord Neverember, the previous ruler of Waterdeep. It's said that the door is very almost impenetrable, but there are people who may have discovered it. And with some of these new factions coming into Waterdeep taking advantage of everyone, they're trying to get to it. So there's might be a little bit of a gold race going on here, which means that us as the guild, and he holds up his hand to you, Jester, and he makes the money thing, like ching.
yeah, the Robin fingers
Yep.
symbol. Yeah. Well, you do strike an interesting point there. I'll have to do some digging myself, it seems. Anyway, I have things to do and people to see. Fare thee well.
Of
And just
course.
Yeah.
disappears.
Bye, Jester. This awkward wave.
There is no reply.
Mm,
Dorn kind
You
of
didn't even see where he went. He just kind of vanished.
yeah, just like
Dorn kind of
sad.
finishes his ale, and he says, "Well, good luck to you, Jameson." And he stands up, takes a swig, sets it down, and goes on over to near the fireplace. And he appears to be going on over to another dwarf over at the blacksmith forge, and they appear to be doing something. It looks like they're getting maybe runes inscribed. You're not entirely sure. It's too far away. Um, at that moment, there is a hooded individual that comes in through the bottom level that you guys can see. Comes in through the rain and shakes off his coat, and he has a very wide-brimmed hat. He's a man with white hair. He's got beautiful mocha skin. He is a very good-looking man. He has an eye patch over one eye, and he has a rather fancy assortment of gear and knives on him. He looks very much like a buccaneer or a pirate. And he comes walking in through the first floor, and he actually heads toward the main guild office, which you know is run by Headmaster Sid and another particular member, one of the other leaders of the guild, who actually never says his name. He just wants you to call him 01, or number 1 to be precise. But Headmaster Sid is pretty much the main guild leader of this whole guild. And for those of you asking out of character, he's a level 20 wizard. Um, you see that man go into the office, and after a few moments, even though there's no loudspeaker system in this guild hall, it echoes and seems to kind of ring out through a lot of the open space, and you are used to this. This is usually what happens when someone is called. Jameson, Jester, and Ophelia are called to Headmaster Sid's office.
I was already outside the door.
Excellent.
Just
So,
purely because we have a stranger come in. Of course I want to follow this stranger.
indeed, you hear the voice echo through, and it says, in Headmaster Sid's kind of grovelly voice, he's like, "Well, we got 3 for you, Ophelia, Jester, and Jameson. I'm gonna need to see all of you in my office, please."
Yes, I'm here as requested.
Yeah, I figured you
I
were.
I get up and make my way, but turn back just to grab another bread roll and then turn back towards the door.
Ophelia would painstakingly rip themselves away from very important conversation, I'm sure, and make as much of a dramatic exit as possible so that people are talking about them.
Indeed. And you do so very easily with those rolls. You all arrive at Headmaster Sid's office. The funny thing that some of you know about Headmaster Sid's office is that it looks somewhat simplistic and odd, but it's actually a lot more than just that. His office, at first glance anyway, seems just like a normal office. A mahogany desk, lots of papers, lots of contracts, a bookshelf, a globe, a map of Waterdeep, and a few other knickknacks here or there. He also has fancy chairs strewn about the area. However, right behind his desk, in between the bookshelf and a few other shelves of knickknack, there is a portal. It's always open, it's always on. It is a blue black portal that very few people ever get to enter. But you know that that is Guildmaster Sid's private office. But whatever you do, don't try to enter the portal uninvited. You may have dire consequences. Nonetheless,
Oh, I've been there and done that. Not again.
Headmaster Sid looks up from his goggles, and he looks very much like Sid from Final Fantasy. He is a blonde, young-looking man in his mid-20s with alchemist and/or artificer goggles on his face. He puts them up, and he's wearing kind of a white and red robe. And he looks and he sees you three enter, and he says, "Ah, welcome. Come, sit down. Oh, help yourself to some Bavarian wine or some mead if you like." And he snaps his fingers. And when you sit down at the other table where the chairs are, three goblets appear in front of each one of you, and they fill with whatever you desire in terms of what he offered.
Mine doesn't fill.
Hmm.
Mine fills with mead.
And mine with the richest, reddest, sparkling wine.
So Riscato. No.
Yeah.
Hey, that's on sale. It's $16.99 down the way. No. So yes,
Oh, only 16.99.
it is very, very good. As you all sit down, he says, "Well, I would like to let's go ahead and get to straight down to business then. You three are all very specialized, and I will choose a few others to possibly help out on this task. But I have a good friend here that needs some help with a particular incident. He is willing to pay very greatly, and you three have been a little bit out of work recently, so I was wondering if you three would like to take up this little task that he has. If you would hear him out, hear his ploy, it would be very grateful."
If he has the gold, then I'm in. Just say. I'm a little dry at the shop at the moment. Not many adventurers can afford magic items anymore. They're, well, all the big names are unable to afford anything at this point in time. So if you have the gold, I'm in.
Oh, he
The
has the
rest of you?
gold.
As for the rest of, well, the other two here, that's, they might have their own reasons, but I'd say, depending on how much gold, no one could pass an offer like this.
Well, how much are we thinking here? I have suits to buy, dresses to obtain, accessories to put away, that sort of thing.
Yep. Well, keep in mind that in this world, would you say that you, Ophelia, would you say that you have an interest in uncommon dresses, rare dresses, or very rare dresses?
Very rare, only the best.
Would you roll me a d4, please?
Two.
Right, so that is 2 plus 1, which is 3 times 10,000. So that's
Mm.
30,000. So most of the dresses, and I do mean the very most elegant and rare dresses, go for 30,000 gold.
Mm-hmm.
A very, very tasty number.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as Ophelia says that, I go, oh, you want dresses? I have, I think, 3 of those in my shop at the moment. You're welcome to peruse them if you would like. We could even do a deal, you and I.
Ophelia, would you roll me 1d20 plus your 1d20 plus history, but roll at advantage because you're a member of the guild, and you would know this.
Okay.
So your history skill.
Mm-hmm. And then roll again. Natural 20!
Oh yeah. So Bunny, Ophelia, you know all about Jester. And yeah,
Mm-hmm. Of
he
course.
probably has very exquisite dresses in his shop, but he does a 50% markup.
Mm-hmm.
So those $30,000 dresses would be more like 50. And you know this.
50,000?
Yes, 50,000 gold for a
Jesus.
dress. Yeah. Granted, there's magical effects about them. They're not ordinary clothes by any means.
No, but they're not the extra rare ones I'm looking for.
Yeah, well they're
They probably are, but
well
they're
no,
just
they are
expensive.
yeah, they are of the very rare quality and they do have very good magical effects. It's just that he marks them up like an ass.
Ah,
I
I
have to make
see.
money somehow.
I
You can't sell them
feel
at
it.
like buying price.
No, no,
How you
no.
do business.
Ophelia would look at Jester up and down, take a moment, cock their head to the side before eventually saying, I do like making deals, but something about the way you. Mm, everything makes me not trust in the financial department. But perhaps if you can show me wrong or show me your credentials,
Quick
perhaps.
question. Quick question, Mr. DM.
Yes.
Do I know that Ophelia is the same race as me?
That
I
mm, let's put it
It,
let me see here. I'm looking at the kind of thing I've got set up here. You've never been able to fully prove it. You've got your suspicions, but you don't quite know. However, out of character, the fact that you two are the same race, you can probably pick up on some things and be like, but you've never actually managed to really get this woman cornered because, well, she's if
so
you're
good.
yeah, if your guess
uh,
is
uh,
if your guess is right, she's your race and you can't seem to pin her down.
and I'm guessing it works vice versa as well. She can't pin you
Mhm.
back down
Yeah, it's
because
neither one of you really knows what the other is, but you've got your guesses.
okay, then well, Jester goes to her. Well, if my thoughts are correct, then our credentials are very much the same, my dear. We will see. We will see. Deals can be made. Things come to fruition. It is all but time. Anyway,
Mm.
back to the business at hand. I believe we need everyone's verdict on whether this
The
is a fruitful endeavor.
the man in the big brimmed hat kind of looks at you and he looks over at Sid and Sid kind of nods and Sid snaps his fingers and the door closes behind you guys. And he says, "Well, that should be a decent amount, though granted, in all honesty, Jay, you can trust anyone in the guild. I don't know why the secrecy is necessary." And the man in the brimmed hat kind of nods and he says, "Well, a man in my position doesn't take any chances." He takes off his wide brimmed hat and he gives it a tap and then he puts it back on. And when he puts it back on, he changes. He shifts from a tan skinned, human looking man to a very dark skinned, pointy eared drow.
Oh, neat trick. I like it.
And he says, "Ah, yes, good evening. My name is Jarlaxle, at your service." And he gives a little bow.
Yes, yes. Good to meet you, Jay.
Nice to meet you.
Um, what? Pray do tell. One. What type of trick is that? Magic item or just a racial ability of yours? Second thing, please do continue with the job.
"Oh, please, Jester,
And
I have come into your shop many times and perused your wares." And he says, "I am a collector and connoisseur of magic items."
oh, I believe I know your signature. But yes, I believe I haven't seen you in this form for a while.
Indeed. A lot of people around Waterdeep tend to not, shall we say, show politeness to those of, well, my
The
stature.
darker skin, yes, I
Yeah.
know. It's quite a fickle thing. It's such a heathenistic view on things. As long as you have the gold, you're a good person in my books.
Well,
What?
this would be a very long assignment. However, I would be willing to pay each of you 50,000.
Hmm.
Fifty
Well,
thousand gold.
Yes.
Huh.
Each.
You piqued my interest before. Now you have my full attention.
I'm listening. Also, who's in trouble?
He chuckles a little bit and he says, "Oh, it's nothing like that. Like I said, this task would take some time. It would definitely be more than just something that would, it would take longer than a week, that's for sure. Maybe a month, two at tops. But I assure you that the reward is well worth it."
What is the risks of what you are asking?
Oh, nothing different than most other tasks that you at the guild would accomplish. I mean, there's always a risk, and there's always, shall we say, chaos somewhere here or there. You never know what could come around. In
Of
all
course.
in all honesty, with people of your skills, there's probably not that much of a threat.
Oh, flattery. It's nice. But I just want to know why such a large amount of money for something that, according to you, is something that is not very different from what we usually do, but just takes longer. That is a lot of money to throw around.
Well, indeed, because what I have planned will be netting quite a bit of money and quite a bit of benefit for everyone, shall we say.
So you're talking about basically an investment of sorts.
Yes. Like I said, this will take time and it will be an investment, but it will be well worth it. In the end,
Spend
the
money to
reward,
make money.
indeed, I will spend a little money to make, well, I by my guess, about 50 times as much of what I am paying you.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I don't see the downside yet. Even if something was to come along that is the manifestation of chaos, I think 50,000 gold pieces is still a decent earning, especially in these trying times.
Indeed. And he gives a little smile. For those of you socialites in the room,
Mm.
this man is pro. Like, pro.
Yeah, Ophelia is picking up on that.
Yep. Like, he is like, ooh, this guy's good.
Oh, yes, Jester knows. Jester knows very well.
I'm
And,
completely oblivious.
yeah, Jameson, like, "Rah!" Um,
Jameson's still munching on a piece of bread.
Yes,
I
he's
have,
dunked it into the mead.
and of course, you can request any guildmates. I don't have any particular distinguish about any guildmates that help you on this or not. But basically, I need you to do several things. One is a bit of a scouting thing, the other is some investigation, and then finally, I know this sounds a bit weird, but I'm going to need to have you do a heist, so to
Oh,
speak.
that sounds like so much fun.
Oh
I can
boy.
get in on that. What are we stealing?
He looks up and he smiles and he says, "Well, there's several heists going on that I'm organizing, but the one that you will be involved with," and he looks right at you, Jester,
Hmm.
and he says, "Tiamat's eggs."
Oh, by the nine hells! Tiamat's eggs! Well, I'll be damned. You have chosen a target, definitely. Oh, I'm intrigued. I am
Oh,
skittish with excitement here.
indeed, and fear not, it will not be for some time before you do that task, but that is basically the gist of it, so to speak. After all, it
Oh,
seems that from rumors from the sources that I have that have connections with the Nine Hells, it appears that Tiamat is pregnant, so to
yes.
speak.
Yes, yes. Well, my friend, and Jester stands up, but when he stands up, he kind of it kind of looks like a trick of the light, or kind of a bit of a trick of a shadow. But he ends up almost immediately next to who he is calling Jay,
Hmm.
and says, kind of like puts his hand out, like puts his hand into Jay's hand and goes, "You have yourself a deal," and then like forcefully shakes his hand.
Mhm. Roll me a wisdom saving throw.
Actually, I gotta figure out what my stats are on that. Probably bad.
Don't touch the merchandise.
That's a 17.
Okay, that does not do it. So, you are
Jeez.
yeah, well, it's DC was 20. Um,
Oh, yeah. Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
you reach towards him, and right as you touch him, before you manage to actually make contact with him, you are stunned.
Mm. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I kind of let out this like almost hysterical cackle as soon as that happens.
So the rest of you in the room see Jester appear there, and now Jester is frozen in place as he is reaching towards Jarlaxle.
And cackling.
And cackling menacingly, like
Hmm.
full, like if he could throw his head back, kind of laughing.
You see Jarlaxle has cracked some sort of odd stick, and he puts the remnants of the stick kind of fade into ash, and he says, no touching."
Oh, I forgot the rule. Of course, of course. Now, is there a possibility of letting me go now?
"I don't know." He kind of steps back and he rubs his chin and he's like, "I think I like this."
As much as I love being a table ornament, if you want me to do this job, I'm going to have to move my body. Or do you just want me to wait for the next 24 hours before I can move again?
He thinks for a moment.
Tempting.
Yeah, he literally says the same thing at the same time as Ophelia. Tempting, but then he's like, yeah, you probably should get to it tonight to make better results. He twitches the little bracelet on his hand, and you are no longer stunned.
Ah, that's a good chap. All right.
It's, oh,
Where
that's
were we?
disappointing.
Well then,
I'm not done, Ophelia says, standing up.
hmm
Not done. While this is delightful, exquisite, and any other variety of words that tickle your fancy or whatever, I am. Something just feels a little interesting. You are clearly a professional, above and beyond, a specialist, an exceptional specialist, yada yada. Um, I would love nothing more than the funds to acquire the special things that I seek in life, but I'm gonna need something a little bit more just to really draw me on board. And you may be able to find other people, but I assure you, no one is like me.
roll
Just ask
me
around.
roll me persuasion.
Natural 20! Yeah, sorry.
so
So 33.
Yeah.
so by all the odds of chaos, you have
Mm-hmm.
taken one of the most powerful characters in the Forgotten Realms universe, and you've convinced him.
Mm-hmm.
So he actually walks up to you and he's very suave. He does everything by the book and he's being very careful about not touching you. But he's gone into full flirt mode without being too like you know,
Mm.
in your face. And he's doing it very professional. He's doing the socialite thing and he's very good at what he does. But you have convinced him. And he says, "Well, what could I get you extra for Such a lovely, amazing woman.
There is a variety of things that you could provide, and I buy the investment, as you say. You seem to be a man capable of providing anything a wonderful woman such as I could ask for. But the first thing that pops into my mind is I want my name, or rather, I want to be part of this grander scheme that you're a part of, this investment that you're making. I want to be there when you're earning this 50, this multiplied by 50 amount. I'm not going to be doing all of this, risking my life and the life of many, for what? One exceptionally rare dress? No, I would prefer my gallery to be complete.
Done.
Oh,
He
Very
literally doesn't even
interesting.
argue with you. He just says done.
Ophelia kind of just like watches him and is immediately suspicious at the whole like how quick it
Yeah,
was.
it was like he didn't even hesitate. He just did it. Roll me a insight.
Mm-hmm.
I swear to God, if you get another natural 20,
Then we're
I,
making you roll on something different.
yeah, I don't think Ark would survive the screeching that would come out of my mouth.
Yeah, my ears are already still bleeding.
holy
Almost.
shit!
Almost.
Fucking Jesus!
Just like bam, bam, bam. You're just punching God
She's
in the
like
face right now.
she takes off the fucking whatever she has on her face and she's like, actually, I'm a god.
No,
I mean,
it'll get to combat and there won't be any roll that's above a 1.
no,
No, none.
you literally go to the God of persuasion and you look at her and you say, no, off the throne, mine.
No, mine. Yeah. And they would be like, oh, you know what? Fair enough.
Okay, so here's what you see. That was a very good roll.
Thank you.
He's being honest. He's actually being very honest
Mm.
about giving you.
A good liar uses truth.
Yeah,
Though.
yeah, no, he. Oh, and believe me, he is a very good liar. But he
Mm.
seems honest about giving you the spot. However, he does show, and he doesn't actually hide this particular thing. He does show that he's a little bit concerned. It doesn't seem like he's concerned about you doing that. It seems more like he's concerned what might happen. Almost as if he's actually concerned for your well-being. Um,
The deal is not as sweet as it seems.
so he's kind of looking at you like that this particular request that you've asked of him may like he's kind of looking at you like, okay, this is your choice, you know.
So, in addition to me being a wonderful conversationalist partner, I also have an eye for when people are holding back. What are you not telling me? What are you not telling us? Their goat eyes just like narrow in on him.
He seems to kind of take that in for a moment. And he says, well, as I said, this particular heist is in 3 stages, and I have many heists going on in the next few months. There may be some places I ask you to go to help and do things, depending upon what happens. And some of these individuals that we might be dealing with are very dangerous individuals. And I do mean very dangerous individuals. So,
Such as?
the Black Hand. That
Oh, yes.
that stops both you and Jester.
Hmm.
The Black Hand is an organization that exists throughout the Forgotten Realms, and they are pretty much like what they sound like, except they make the Dark Brotherhood, if for out of character, they make the Dark Brotherhood look like pushovers. They make the Thieves Guild look like amateurs. They are Shadow itself. These are an
Oh, yeah.
organization that is often rumored often never seen. And some of you, especially you, Ophelia, have heard rumors that they might be encroaching on Waterdeep.
Hmm.
And whether you're afraid of them or not, it does draw a pause because their reputation precedes them.
Hmm.
Now fucking Jester is just full cackle now, like it's almost like deafeningly loud, and then he just stops.
I just
Just-
shoved the bread roll into my face.
I
Stressed.
thought you were about to shove the bread roll into his
Yeah,
mouth.
yeah, it's just like, shut up!
Oh!
But
Yeah.
he reaches like a crescendo in his laugh, then stops. And he just looks and stop. He doesn't say anything, just looks with this massive, creepy grin on his face. It's actually probably the most unsettling thing you've seen in a very long time. Probably not for the not for Sid or Jay, but
Hmm.
for
I'm
probably
slightly
for
scared and turned
Ophelia.
on.
Yeah, for Jameson, sorry, Jameson and Ophelia. I don't know
Adam
why I said
Jensen.
Jameson.
Ophelia
Jameson
isn't
and
looking
Ophelia.
at you. That like you're
Oh,
not
no.
in the room.
No, I'm right behind him, like right behind, not directly behind, but like very close to where Jay was talking to you. So
Oh, okay, gotcha.
you don't get to not look at me.
Periphery.
I'm right there.
Right. You're the sleep paralysis demon in the conversation.
Yes, that's exactly what I am.
So Ophelia would take a moment, make a slight tut noise with her mouth, just
You hear Jay pipe up a bit, and he says, "I know the reward is worth it, but I ask that all of you think twice before saying yes or no to this. Because once we begin, there won't be any going back."
hmm.
I gave you my answer. That has not changed. I don't need to think about it. I'm in. This
I
is going to be a wild ride.
Perhaps putting my name down in your investment is more than I can bite down on.
He
Perhaps
right when you say that, he smiles very mischievously.
Perhaps I will ask something just as grand, but a little bit more elusive. Troublesome as it may be. I want all of your contacts.
That is actually a much more reasonable request.
I want influence. I want contacts. I want everything.
You would like to have Brigandias information at your disposal.
As a start.
He nods. He says, "I'm sure we could work with that."
Good.
Also, at this time, Jester is now sitting right beside Jameson. He goes, "Oh, so we know who's going to die first, I believe," and then disappears again. just just
I
adding
just
his little
confused and
commentary.
like, that was rude. Also, you shouldn't be thinking that. Do you need help?
Jester's
Because you're the
just
one
being
going to be dying first.
yeah, probably, but he's being a menace. Ultimately, is kind of what, and you guys would probably know from being in the guild for as long as you have that he is quite the menace.
He's a little shit. He
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
little
Oh
shit.
yeah,
Just,
He's a
he will
jester.
say.
Jester's like,
Yeah,
"You're gonna die first." Walks through the door, immediately steps into a fire ring trap. Ah, damn it!
The consequences
He-
of my own actions.
The funny thing is, a lot of the time, people know it as he doesn't mean it, what he says, half the time. Although,
He's a jester.
that,
We get it.
but, yeah. But the
He's-
fact is, he probably does mean what he's saying.
Yeah.
Nobody can tell.
His
He's
brutal
just,
honesty.
he's just really weird.
A true agent of chaos. So,
Well,
Yeah.
the moment that you give me your contacts and everything that I've asked for, I will be on board. Though I do expect a down payment of some amount.
he nods. He's actually going to give you each a down payment of 10,000. So you guys have
Mhm.
stuff to work with, and then the rest will be paid after the heist is over. Now, keep in mind, this will be a story that will probably last over a decent amount of time, and the overall job will probably last about a couple months in terms of in-game time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but he says, very well. Then why don't we discuss phase one? And he says, I will gladly do that. He actually, he does something very interesting, Ophelia. He reaches
Mm.
into a bag, pulls out uh, what looks like maybe a sticker or a piece of paper that's black with like a black hole. He throws it on the ground, and the ground opens up a bit into what appears to be some kind of void. And he looks down and he says, Did you get all that? And you hear a voice come from back up. Yep, I got it. I have her name. She'll be having our contacts very soon. He snaps his fingers and the portal closes up and turns back into a little paper circle and he puts it into his pouch. Looks at Ophelia.
Mm.
You'll be getting them soon enough, but we'll need to go over a lot of things and we'll need to get everything set up. It takes time, you see.
Mm-hmm. I can wait. The question is, can you?
Oh, I can. That's why I came to the guild early. He smiles.
We'll go on then.
Well, then why don't we discuss phase one? And of course, he talks to Sid, and Sid gets all of your papers sorted out. You guys are officially ones on a particular job. He gives you a down payment each of 10,000, so you each have 10,000 gold. Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he starts to discuss things. He says, "Well, for phase one, it's actually a fairly simple little thing. I need you to go to Bobarer's Emporium. He appears to have had a little mishap with his caravan. It hasn't arrived yet, and it's delivering a very important item that will be needed for this grand heist. Actually, it will be needed for several of the heists.
Quick question. Do I know this person well?
Uh,
Considering we're in a similar line of
yeah,
business.
Balthazar's Emporium. He is a seller of a lot of potions. He
Yeah.
also sells the occasional magic item. He's over on the south side. He was one of the only shops that didn't actually get destroyed during the demon invasion. He
Mm-hmm.
was in kind of a nice little area there, and
hmm
he is very known for importing a lot of potions. He's a big potion guy. Even though your guild house already has a couple potion guys, you guys never have to really go talk with him. He is one of the bigger potion sellers in Waterdeep.
I'd say even I deal with him quite a bit when I want,
Mm, yep.
hard to get potions and stuff like that.
hmm
He's my go-to. So yeah, I would have I don't know whether he likes me or not, but that's
Mm.
completely different. That's a thing for when we get there.
He is
We'll find out.
and Joel Axel sits down. He says, "There's a particular item that he was transporting to his shop and getting for me that apparently has been stolen, and I need you to go investigate the shop, investigate the site of the supposed caravan. It should be somewhere along the eastern route, and possibly find out what happened to this item and retrieve it, if necessary. When you do retrieve it, I can have you come back to the One-Eyed Flagon, and you can deliver it to me there. Then we can move on to phase two."
Fair enough. Well, what is the item we're looking for? Gonna be hard to look for an item we don't know what it is.
The item is a black sphere. It almost appears to be much like a scrying orb. However, it is pitch black, obsidian in nature.
Hmm.
You will know it when you see it. It is in a modeled figurine, and around it is a golden dragon with flaming fire going around it. It's an orb
Ah,
that sits in like this little holder thingy.
Yeah.
Mm.
hmm. Wonderful. I don't think I've heard of any item like that. Care to tell
It
us what it does?
seems quite Tiamat in theme.
Oh, it does. It does. But yes, what exactly would you care to tell us in case there's any mishaps with touching the item, say?
Indeed. And he says, "I would not recommend touching the item directly. For anyone that touches it or looks into it and does not have a will of iron becomes entrapped in the sphere forever."
Hmm.
Yes. Okay, that is wonderful. That is sounds like a fantastic item.
And
And
he hands you all these very interesting looking kind of spec goggles, almost like the ones Master Sid is wearing. And he says, if
mhm.
you look at it through these, there should be no problem.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
Fair
But whatever,
enough.
That is.
but whatever you do not let your bare skin touch it.
Ophelia would like get the goggles and look at them as if they were the most like
Yeah,
offensive fashion statement
I
of
knew,
all time.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Of course. She, you know, she'll reach out and she'll take it and she'll be like, oh,
Internal
yeah,
internal screaming.
internal screaming.
I just put them on, like just like normally, and just like wide-eyed grin. It's like, how do I look?
Oh, they suit you.
He looks like a giant barbarian with a big ass hammer and plate mail, and he's wearing
Okay.
artificer goggles.
By the way, when I can see the on Ophelia's face, the internal screaming, what I do is I start to sneak
Externally
around.
scream?
No, I cast a minor illusion, but use the sound side of minor illusion, and I cast a scream in what I can imagine to be her voice, like as close as I can get it to her voice. I just cast the scream centered on her.
So we immediately get the meme. We get the meme in full force here.
Yes, exactly. It's just like he just does it. He just you hear a click of his fingers, and it's just like this screaming that sounds like Ophelia. And you can see you could probably see the red in her face from just like anger after that. I'd say.
Oh, she's very good at keeping her shit together. She has to be.
Yeah.
And before you guys even get on the heist, you start to kill each other. No.
Yeah, right.
By that scream house, I just like pull them up and use it as a headband to keep my hair out of my face.
Ladies and
Well, one of
gentlemen, the Professional Guild of Waterdeep. They can't even make it out the door.
No.
But I drop my goggles into my bag of holding, and I give as eloquent a bow as a jester that looks like he could probably kill you in your sleep can give, and then he like jovially saunters out the door.
I drink the rest of my mead, stand up and smack it down on the table, and just walk out, like kind of trailing behind Jester.
Once Ophelia is well, not alone, but like when the other members of her ragtag team have left, she won't say anything. She would just look at the client, I suppose, and kind of wait with expectation. Like she's waiting for him to say something, do something, provide something. She doesn't elaborate, but she just waits and stares.
Ophelia, you get a message. This is D&D, so for those of you who know what the message and sending spells are, they're
Yeah.
basically just literally like getting a voicemail in your head.
You've got mail.
Pretty much.
And it says, Ophelia, we of so-and-so, I haven't gotten their names yet, but basically a couple contacts start to give you where and when you can find them, and it's basically, you're experienced in this, so I'm not going to go into extreme detail, but basically the messages you're getting are starting to set up some networks for you.
A small smile, a fraction of a bow, not a curtsy, and
A nod.
a nod, yeah, pretty much. And they look like they're about to say something. They don't. They leave.
Alright. You leave Headmaster Sid and Jarlaxle in the office, and the door closes behind you. It's at this point that you all kind of go about your business. You can collect any items that you wish to receive, or anything you want to get, going. And there
I'll
are
probably.
two other people that you see. Just a moment.
If we are not traveling in a fancy ass fucking wagon, we're not traveling at all.
Well, you can. That'll be easy enough.
Yeah.
You have the funds for it.
I have the money.
Yeah, not to mention, it's pouring rain right now, so traveling in a wagon might actually be kind of nice.
Yeah.
There are two guild members outside waiting for you three when you finally get there. Voletta and Tanric. Uh, they're, from what you know about them, you haven't worked with them a whole lot, but you've seen a couple of them in action. Tanric is basically a blood warden. He can use blood to do unique things, and he's also a psychic. Voletta is a druid, and she specializes in spore magic, which is very interesting. Most druids don't kind of get into that. And she has done some very interesting things for those of you who know what spore magic can do. And they're both sitting out, kind of over by the thing. And they're like, howdy, we're your two aides for this whole big thing.
Ah, so it's the spore and the blood. Oh, hello, welcome, welcome to the ragtag group. I guess you're following us to the ends of the earth. This should
Voletta,
be fun.
yeah, Voletta's eyes flash green, and she gives a very nice smile to Ophelia. And then she looks at Jester and Jameson, and she says, yes, we're your plus one, so to speak. I have to admit, as you're walking over to the very nice coach, um, she says, so what do you all think about the amount of money getting laid down for this job in particular?
Oh, it's highly suspicious.
Indeed, dropping that much money just for one, two, three, four, five of us to go out on this supposed mission that will take months to do and be very dangerous, might even land us in the nine circles of hell, especially
Hmm.
when Waterdeep just underwent an attack from the abyss itself, and
Hmm.
yet so simplistic and so eager to hire on. Why, I wonder?
I personally do not believe that it will be that simplistic. After the information that we have gotten, that I shall not repeat in such uncertain surroundings,
Of
if
course.
we do end up in the nine circles, let's just say that childbirth is not fun for anyone. And with this, far less so.
Yes.
Voletta nods and Tanric kind of pipes up and he says, well, from what I can understand, it won't be boring.
No, I think the gold is but a mere pittance to how much fun we're going to have with this little trip of ours.
Oh, so you wouldn't mind giving some of the gold to us
Oh,
then?
you can step off.
Mhm.
The gold is still mine, but
Mhm.
the fun is where it's really
I'm gonna have to start granting disadvantage for some of these sick burns.
Ah.
at.
All right. Geez, having a verbal battle with Jester and Ophelia, that'd be like a cat versus a
Oh, she
mongoose.
hates him. She's everything that she's not.
Like I said, it's literally the battle of a cobra versus a mongoose. And the thing is, who's the cobra and who's the mongoose?
Who fucking knows?
Well,
Turns out
let's
they're
put it
both
this way.
cobras.
I'm the
Ophelia might be really good at talking, but Jester is really good at killing.
Yeah, yeah.
But he
Indeed.
doesn't hurt anyone who gives him business.
Indeed.
Right.
So you travel through the pouring rain in the very nice stagecoach on over to Bazathar's Emporium.
Before we do, can I grab some healing potions as well?
Yes.
Yes, I would as
Yes.
well.
Would you guys like to
What?
buy some healing potions? So here is
Yes.
what we do. Normal healing potions are a common item, so I will roll them on the common table. The better ones are uncommon, and then the finest potions are rare quality. Which ones
I
would you like
mean,
to buy?
do you have to ask that question?
All right. So here's the
It is
thing.
a floor of mine. They only accept the highest quality things.
Would actually I will roll 2d10 for you guys and determine the prices of these. Here,
I would be looking for, like healing potions, restoration potions in the sense of like if we were sickened, diseased, or poisoned, like that kind of helps or gets rid of it.
Sadly, nothing
Um,
can cure just stupidity.
No, sadly not.
all right. So potions of superior.
Okay.
These unique ones will heal you 2d8 plus 4 each.
Hmm.
How many would you all like to buy? Because I know that you all have separate purses, but I'll pool it all together just to make it easy for you guys.
Thank God.
Just how much do they cost, though?
Yeah.
The really special ones that do 2d8 plus 4 are going to be, they're really pricey. They're going to be 2,000 each.
2,000
um,
each.
So I
Alright.
guess one below that would be like 1k.
Well, if you want to buy a normal potion, which does 1d8 plus 4, or it's the slightly uncommon version, the 1d8 plus 4 one, that one
Mhm.
will be 600 gold.
we should probably get a bunch of those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because, like, if we were to get a superior one and rolled snake eyes, we wouldn't. That's a lot of money burnt for no
Yeah.
fucking healing.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I take it we're just homebrewing the qualities
Oh,
of
well,
these.
these ones are unique. They're not the standard potions. That's why
Oh,
they're
because I was
slightly
gonna
more
say
expensive.
the superior healing potion is 8d4 plus 8.
Yeah, so, but the thing about these ones is that you drink them, and then you're healing that every turn for 3 turns.
Oh, I get it. Right,
Mm,
gotcha. Then yeah,
that's fun.
I'll take 3 of the $600 600 gold
So
ones.
3 of those. So remember, they
Same.
do 1d8 plus 4, but that's each turn you drink them for 3 turns.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I'm taking
that's fine.
5.
Okay?
I'll take 4.
Okay. This is well within all your price range.
Hmm.
And
I don't know if I would have already had a really fancy wagon because me, or if I had to buy one.
Well, the guild has one, so,
I'll try.
and it's freaking awesome. So,
Yes.
I mean, heck.
I'll actually make that. I'll make that 4, not 3.
Okay, so 4. And do you want to buy any normal potions, or do you want to just stick with the special ones?
Just the special
Um,
ones. That's fine.
I would probably get the 2 normal ones as well. Extra.
So
are there any potions that like cure disease, poisons,
Yes,
or
actually.
yeah.
Those ones will be 200 gold each.
I'm taking 4 of those.
Okay?
Um,
Spending a very nice, pretty penny on potions, but that is okay. The potion master alchemist is happy.
Oh, trust and believe. I'm going to be coming back to him and be like, so customer credit.
Well, interestingly enough, I'll go ahead and do this little roleplay with you guys. As you guys are in the guild potion shop, you notice that for those of you who know the guild pretty well, you know that the potion master of the guild is actually a kobold.
Mhm.
Oh yes,
Mhm.
we've had quite the chat. He's quite a nice fella.
And so let me see if I can get him here.
Quaint creatures they are.
His name is Argon. He is a kobold alchemist, and he's a red skinned kobold. He has a backpack on all the time, and it has these weird kind of fluid contraption things going. Um, for those of you who play League of Legends and who have seen Ziggs or Singed, what Singed has on
Yeah.
his back,
Mm.
that's kind of what the kobold has. He's got this little. It's a backpack, but it's also a weird contraption. It's like an artificer thing, but an alchemist thing. He also
Mhm.
has a staff that is literally an injector and a potion holder. It's just this weird
Yes.
looking,
Ooh.
yeah, it is just this weird looking setup, and he's got one eye that's been crafted into like this little goggle thing that you can flip up and down that glows a bright green. And as he's
What
sitting
about
there and you're buying these potions, and he's like, "Oh, well, Ophelia, I think you know the drill that I actually sell some of these rare ones a bit cheaper to some of your guildmates, but I do have something special if you want, Ophelia."
Go on.
Well, it sounds like you're going into quite the mess. So, how about I give you. Let's see, one, two, three, four, five. I've already given those two something. How about I give you three something very special, and you, Ophelia, something very special?
Mm.
I'm going to give you each a unique potion of superior healing. But it's
Oh,
unique.
well,
unique?
So
do go on.
he's going to give you each a unique superior healing. This will do 8d8 plus 2 healing. But for you, Ophelia, it will do 10d8,
Sweet Jesus.
and it will also grant haste.
Mm.
But Ophelia, would you roll me an insight, please?
Yeah, I'm like, this is too good. It's gonna fuck up my hair. It's gonna fuck up my. Something's gonna happen.
There's like cocaine in it.
Yeah, I'm becoming
It's
an
laced
addict.
with something.
1d20. Did you say insight?
Insight.
All right.
Okay, would I be seeing any of this as well, or?
I mean, you can roll an insight if you want.
Okay, cool.
I'm just looking around.
Also
touching
being,
things
you know,
like-
a
I-
businessman, I know when someone's trying to pull this kind of shit, so.
Yeah, my passive insight is 18. So if I get below that, do you know what my passive is?
I got a 27.
Plus
Okay.
22.
Okay, that is enough. Both of you kind of realize these potions are experimental. He seems to be passing off you guys as guinea pigs. And he says, these are some new potions I've been working on, and although they haven't been fully tested, the positive effects are certainly high quality.
Jester immediately hands it back to him. Sorry,
I
my
kind of
friend.
like open it and sniff it.
I've had a couple too many problems with experimental items. I'm pretty sure I don't want to touch this one again.
Of course.
But thank you for the offer.
I understand, Jester.
But while we're here, have you got any poisons?
He does. Are you looking for common, uncommon, or rare?
Well, you figure this out. I just need to get something. I'll be back.
Sure.
Rare poisons would be nice, but
roll
depending.
me 2d10.
2d10. Alright. Just give me a moment to find my other d10. There we are. We have. Do you want them as a percentile or just
Just as 2d10.
separate? Okay, well, 5 in total.
5 in total?
Yep.
He can sell you purple worm venom for 5,000 gold.
Or how many uses? Is that 3 uses as normal poison is?
Yes.
But that's also not 3 uses. Wait, is it 3 uses on blade or 3 uses in total from the bottle?
Total.
Right, and they last an hour.
Yeah,
It's-
about an hour.
Yeah, I haven't played 5e in a while. You know what? Fuck it, yeah. 5,000 gold.
Out the window.
All right, so you guys, you are making his day. So yeah, so you pay 5,000 gold, and he gives you a vial of purple worm venom. Sadly, the DC
Yep,
is
I'm
still
back.
sadly the DC is still only up to 15 because most poisons still have a low DC.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got a vial of purple worm venom.
I just forget what it exactly does, so I'm just googling it. Unless you've got some other way of way that it works.
Oh, it'll do what it says. So, Jameson, you smell the potion, and it smells like a normal health potion with a hint of lemon.
Lemony.
I will accept this most wonderful gift, but sweet thing, if my hair, complexion, or anything about me goes into the negative, I can't guarantee that you would be working here for very long.
Oh, by the way, purple worm poison is DC 19.
Oh, 19. Okay, that works.
Yep.
His eye fixes on you, Ophelia. Like there's this weird kind of faint glowing green glow in his shop because his shop is slightly dimly lit. And the eye just kind of fixes on you, and his reptilian pupil just kind of looks at you.
No more shinies. It would be such a shame.
He kind of looks at you, and he smiles. And he says, "Of course." I assure you it's nothing like that. It's more along the lines of, well, how many of you are familiar with wild magic?
Ophelia looks to Jester.
Oh, I know. I know all too well about wild magic.
There is a small percentage that a wild magic effect could happen if these potions are consumed. Hence is the drawback of making them so powerful.
Well then, maybe if that's all, I might as well just take that back. I know a little bit about wild magic, and it's not. It could be harmful, but it's usually not too bad. So I think I will take that experimental potion that you were offering.
He nods, and when the eye looks at you, his eye shifts to you, and you
Mhm.
realize, Jester, it's an eye of anti-magic field.
Yeah, I figured as much.
Meaning he sees you know this guy. He's a member of the guild.
Yeah,
He's one of the old veterans. But
yeah.
when he looks at you and Ophelia,
He sees what we really are.
he sees right through you. It's also
Yeah,
an eye of true sight.
yeah. I'm guessing I
Fucking
know
try
this.
me, bitch.
I'm guessing I already know this. So
Yes.
yeah, cool. So I'm not phased by it. I don't know if Ophelia would know this, but maybe.
Probably not.
Actually,
Probably not.
yeah, no. This is probably your
Because
first time dealing with him.
Yeah, I probably was like, no.
yeah, I would say Ophelia is a little bit newer to the guild since she's still setting up contacts, whereas in you pretty much have a lot of your stuff already established. So I
Yeah.
would say Ophelia is fairly new, which also begs the question, with knowing Ophelia's attitude and demeanor toward things, what was the horrible thing she had to do to get into the guild, I wonder?
Isn't that fascinating? Anyway,
I wonder
Moving
what I
on.
had to do. Like, really, I don't care. What did I have to do?
Hmm?
That's up to you guys, not me. So,
Oh,
Well,
boy.
he already
anyway.
knows what I had to do. So
So anyway, the alchemist kind of looks at you and he chuckles and he says, I assure you, I mean no harm on this intent. It is merely a drawback of making such powerful alchemical ingredients. I do not think
Uh,
your hair will do anything that radical unless you got a very odd wild magic effect, in which case it would wear off after a few hours. Typically, wild magic effects of simple prestidigitation or change of color do not last very long, Ophelia.
there is
At
that
the
effect where
mention
you-
of the hair being changed color, she's like, oh!
Oh no, it's fine. It just turns into feathers. That's all.
I can work with that actually.
Yes, it's a very amazing effect to see. It's don't sneeze when you've got it though, otherwise
Oh.
no hair.
No!
It'll grow back. It'll grow back, but you won't have any hair for a little bit. Just if you get that effect, don't sneeze.
Oh my god.
I just look completely confused and just kind of like close the bottle again. And it's like, I'm taking it.
All right.
But if I die, it's all your fault.
He says, of course. Although I doubt one of your stature will die.
Yes, this muscle-bound idiot definitely won't die from something as simple as a potion.
I'll probably turn into something, or I'll just chuck it down your little
You
throat.
see,
Just don't
But then-
sneeze, you'll lose your hair.
Yeah, I don't want to lose my hair.
you see a gnome in the background working on some sort of artificer ingredients. He's also wearing the big goofy gnome goggles, and he's kind of perched up on this little thing. And you see him kind of start tinkering with this weird-looking alchemical device, and then it kind of does a kind of thing, and like it starts, and then it smokes, and then it turns into a little globule of something, and it's a really weird thing to watch. And the alchemist looks back, and he's like, and he says in Draconic. Does anyone speak Draconic?
Me!
Yep.
I do not.
So he says in Draconic, "You son of a bitch, what are you doing?" And then the gnome immediately turns back and says in Draconic, "I am working on an actual device here, not just making the same potions over and over again." And then they start just arguing like, you know, an Italian, you know, a couple Italians just sitting there like.
it's somewhere in there you hear, "It's me."
No!
It's me!
And then you,
Ophelia will speak in Draconic eloquently, of course, and well, as eloquently as one can when
As
speaking. Draconic.
eloquently as someone can speak in Draconic, it's not an
Yeah.
eloquent speech.
Exactly. She's trying real hard.
It's very
Um,
guttural. So
It is. So she'll try, and it's stunning to hear the noises coming out of her mouth. But she would say, "Oh, real devices? What kind?"
By the way, Jester is trying to suppress a laugh as soon as he hears Ophelia speak in Draconic.
Yeah, it's a very aggressive
just-
language. So hearing a woman with a really soft voice speak it is kind of like odd.
Yeah, it's like Jester is just trying not to lose his shit right now. He's just sitting there. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm going to go before I end up on the floor. And then he just kind of saunters out.
I just stay and just watch this pan out because I'm
Uh,
like entranced by Ophelia's draconic. Like, ooh, hot.
Jameson thinks anything.
Oh, that's hot. And then it's like pans to Ophelia, who's like,
Well, it's the dragon language in D&D is actually a lot like the dragon language from Elder Scrolls. So it's actually more like
just
Fush do no.
yelling.
Yeah. Fush do no das yun
Yeah,
Mamma mia!
it's very similar to the German language, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
probably.
actually, the Draconic language was actually somewhat inspired by the
German language, yeah.
And,
German.
yeah, the
The
gnome,
German language.
the gnome, who you know to be one of the guild's main artificers, stops arguing with Argon, and his name is Loganos, and he looks at you, and he's like, "I'm trying to work on a new alchemical device that can switch its very composition from water to solid."
That's exceptional.
He nods.
How far have you gotten into such a miraculous invention?
He says, "Huh." He looks at Argon, kind of shoves Argon out of the way. "Huh. Finally, someone appreciates my alchemical thing." And then, boom, Logus gets whacked in the back of the head with the staff. And he's like, "Ah, shut up." So Loganos looks at you and he's like, "Well, for those of you who love espionage, I haven't quite finished this. It might take me another..."
Jester appears again, like,
So
hello.
I was actually just about to say, oh, and what can it be used for? It's up behind Argon now, just out of nowhere, and it's just like everyone just jumps out of their fucking skins.
It's not.
He's
It's
like,
not.
"No."
It's not finished yet. However, when it is done within the next month or so here, it might be something very interesting. However, I will be charging quite a bit for it. He tosses out. He tosses out a little object on the desk, and for those of you who have played Elder Scrolls, it looks like a little dwarven spider. One of the little.
Ah, yes.
Aw.
But it's very small. It's about the size of maybe my fist.
Ah.
Mhm.
And before your eyes, it turns into a puddle of water, undistinguishable from a normal puddle of water. And then he kind of focuses his on it, and then it reforms back into an arcane spider.
It's a Terminator.
Ooh,
Yes,
this
sir,
is
do too.
interesting. Is there any way you could make it so that you could do that to someone's body?
Yes, perhaps I'm working on it. Although, and then you hear an explosion come from the back of the shop, and he's like, "Speaking of that," and then he goes and he just walks back off to the back.
Ophelia will
Well,
call out. Ophelia
I'll
will
have to
definitely
come
call
back.
out and say something
This.
along the lines of, well, your co-worker or boss or whatever relationship you have here is giving us experimental potions. Perhaps you could make this a competition to see who is better in their craft. If you give us experimental things to work with and a moderate recommendation that they won't provide death, then perhaps by the time that we come back, we can, without a shadow of a doubt, declare who is the master in this establishment.
He sticks his head out from the now smoking back room, and he's like, and he looks back and he says, "Well, I would do that, except I can't exactly offer you that they wouldn't implode your body. That's why I'm still working on it. Believe me, when it actually gets to the point where it's safe to operate, I will give it to you."
Very well. And then
Give me
Ophelia will make a
call when
point
it's-
to
Give me
go
call when
to
it's
turn to
ready.
the potion master and say, very well, master potion maker, we will be back another time. Basically just being super passive aggressive because she didn't get her way.
Mm-hmm. Suck
Yeah.
it!
And Jester appears beside the potion master, kind of like just sitting on a counter with legs crossed, kind of just like tapping on the desk. Like, she's a little bit of a wild one, isn't she? She can be a bit abrupt. Don't take it to heart, my dear friend. And slaps the kobold in the back. But without further ado, I must make haste. Please do
Of course.
contact us if you have any other interesting things that you could possibly sell.
The eye focuses on you, and you feel the world around you kind of start to go a little bit black. And the kobold says, "Of course. Oh, and Jester, watch your back out there. There are some interesting players coming into Waterdeep now."
And as he says that, I stand up, walk forward a couple steps, and then I change myself to have an eye on my back. And I say, I'm already 10 steps ahead of you. And then
Yeah.
walk out the door.
Do I see
So,
the eye? I just if I see the eye, I just get like shivers, like.
Yeah, Jameson didn't leave, so Jameson's like, "What the fuck is going on?" Ah.
He just sees this big eye on my back, and he's just like,
I went, I got food, I got drink, I got money, and then all of a sudden, all of this weird shit is happening.
Yeah. I just want to help
Well,
people
to be
eat
fair,
food.
Jameson and Ophelia are fairly new to the guild, so it kind of makes sense that they're kind of starting to just see the intrigue that this guild actually expands into. But
yes.
the craziness does subside a little bit, or maybe it won't, knowing Natso's characters. So you go on out to one of the carriages with all the potions in tow, and you have to walk by the medical ward. Um, med packs might be something you want to buy, but nonetheless, you kind of walk by and you look, and there appear to be a couple people actually sitting out in the rain near the carriage that tends to send people off and go to different places. It's actually a carriage pulled by some very nice horses. However, you notice that a few people have been injured. It appears that one of the buildings nearby has collapsed, and there is someone dressed in a plague doctor outfit, if you will, the classical, for those of you who know what the plague doctors look like, they were the, big bird incense masks. And you see what appears to be a slightly feminine figure helping a few people that seem to have been injured near the carriage that you guys are going to get into.
Stop crying, stop. It's just your hands. You don't need that. It's fine.
What do you mean it's fine, woman? My arm's off.
Yeah, so you'll be a lot better for it. Trust me, you look like you need to lose weight. Now, come on.
No, I want my
have
arm
30
back.
minutes.
Ah!
It's not coming. Oh, God.
No.
Someone hand me the anesthetic stick.
Da, da, da.
Um,
It's a nightstick, yeah. I fucking knew it.
No,
is Jester seeing this at the moment?
You're all
Like,
seeing
seeing
this. There's another.
Okay.
There's another
Jester
plague.
appears
Okay.
beside the screaming man and just like swift chop to the back of the neck and knocks him out.
Yeah.
Ah, thank you.
You notice
No
that there is
problem.
you notice that there is another plague doctor looking guy, a slightly bigger fellow, looks more like a masculine figure. He's sitting there holding a syringe, and he's just kind of looking at Jester with that plague doctor mask on, and then he looks back at the new plague doctor that you guys have not been introduced to yet, and then he looks down at the guy and he says, "Well, I guess that's slightly easier."
Glad to be of
Actually
service.
You're gonna actually use a syringe? I was pointing at the nightstick.
I was going to look. A nightstick could possibly break his skull. The last thing we need is his head caved in.
That would be, well, you know what? We're already working on him, so that would just be one extra step.
Well, for crying out loud, woman, how many people have you actually saved? Wait, don't answer that. Don't answer that at all.
I have saved almost all my patients.
Bullshit!
All my legal patients I've saved.
He looks at the newcomers.
Oh, this is fun.
The taller one you guys actually recognize. His name is Don. He is one of the guild main medics. This other person you don't seem to recognize though. And Don kind of looks over at the new plague doctor and he says, "Just give him to me. You're going to drop him and break him. Give him to me now, now. Let go, let go, let go, let go, let go."
Take it. I don't want them. He's a bitch anyways.
And before Don leaves, I go, "Oh, D-man, who's the fresh face or the fresh body?
She is a higher out medical assistant, or shall we say medical professional, that shall be working with the guild. Why don't you introduce
Oh.
yourself to them? And he goes walking off, carrying the guy back to the medical guild.
Hello. I am Azarella. At your service.
Well, that name's a little bit annoying to say.
Good
I'm
hello.
just going to call you.
You're gonna call me Azarella, sweetheart.
No, I'll call you Birdie.
But her name is Azarella.
I don't care.
But she does.
I see.
Well, it's nice to meet you, Azarella. I'm Jameson.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Well,
And
you
I am Ophelia.
Yes.
It is a wonder to meet you. You seem like a very talented woman.
Oh, of course, of course. You know, not anyone can do a proper head transplant.
Of course.
Neither can I, because that's never happened before. But I can
No.
do it with an arm.
Oh, I
Hmm.
think you have the grace and tact to be able to do it. It's definitely something I want to see one day. Jester, by the way. Not that it really matters. You just
Might
can
matter
call
in
me
a
whatever the
mission
hell
when
you
you're
feel
adult.
like. But
A
anyway,
medic. You're a
Yes.
medic, a medical professional.
Yes.
We could make use of someone with those talents.
Indeed.
yes, we could.
Did you not just say that you wanted to watch the technique of them doing a head transplant and now you're unsure?
No, I'm not denying that. I'm just trying to figure her out. But I guess the best way to figure it out is bring her along. You're coming with us now. Be happy. Come on, let's go.
What's the pay?
Oh, exceptional.
Yes.
Let's just say it's in the 5 digits of gold.
Bunny,
Hmm.
roll me that deception, please.
I'll roll that insight.
Wait, deception?
Deception.
Why deception?
Oh, I don't know.
Please get
I
a nat
thought
20.
I thought you were bullshitting him, but that you were.
No, there's a lot of money involved.
Okay, so we're good.
Oh.
Go ahead and roll insight though, anyway. For not. So
You have to beat a 30.
he got a natural 20.
Wait, are we casting nat 20s as a auto win?
wins.
Yeah, natural ones are auto fails. Natural 20s are auto wins.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I mean,
But-
I mean, I'm not
overall-
lying.
no, she's
So I guess you just know that I'm definitely not lying.
yeah, Ophelia, she's definitely not lying, and she may have not described the payment quite to the largity that it actually is.
That's why Jester came in and said, it's somewhere in the 5 digits of gold.
5 digits.
Hmm.
Yes.
Well, they seem to be not dying as immediately, so
Yes, and I would like to see you do a live head transplant. That would be interesting to see. It would be a
I'd love to
sight
see you perform
behold.
one on this little jester here.
And then, as Jameson says that, Jester puts his arm on the shoulder. Mind you, he was in front of Jester, in Jameson. Now he's behind Jameson.
Oh god.
And he just puts his hand on the shoulder and says, "Oh, really? Do you now?"
Aye. I
And then
do.
he starts walking towards the cart.
I hate clowns.
Hmm. Ophelia does bring out
I
her,
heard
her little her little hand fan and just swap flutter flutter
All
In
right.
the rain.
So
in the rain.
little bag and
Uh,
follows.
Nacho, is that the character portrait you want?
Yes.
Okay. Let me see if I can actually get this going. I probably won't be able to do it since Roll20 always does this funny thing to me.
I do need to go away in 20 minutes.
That's okay. We're getting there. I figured you
Alright.
guys wouldn't have time for a combat.
Hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I
so
have nothing else.
The amount of times, almost.
indeed, but granted, we will continue this. Believe me. So we're gonna go ahead and go on to the next thing I got going here, and we'll wrap it up here in just a bit. So
Mhm.
you guys take the carriage. The plague doctor, the spore druid, the psychic blood swordsman, the massive barbarian with the maul that really should probably, get a shrink spell done on it so it can be carried
Right.
around normally, but nope. And of course the jester and
You
the
missed the most important.
I'm getting to that.
No, he said the jester.
No.
I'm getting to that. The woman dressed very elegantly and the, shall we say, life of the party
That, yes.
all go off to Bazazar's Emporium, and you fill this new woman in on what exactly is happening. What was your name again? Not so fully.
Adorella.
Azarella. So
Adorella.
Adderall. Yeah. Ha ha
With
ha
the
ha 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 ha. I get it. So uh, Azarella, they've basically, if you get in on this, this will be quite the job. It will take about several months to 3 months of work, but the pay that they're talking about is really good. However, there was somewhere in there about possibly going to the Nine Hells. You're not entirely sure. And apparently, it seems that there is a new assassin organization that is moving in on Waterdeep. Long story short. But nonetheless, the payout is going to be really good. 50,000 gold each.
Oh yeah, I'll go to hell for that.
I know, right? It's such a tempting offer.
So you all take a carriage ride through the still smoldering city of Waterdeep. You get to Balthazar's Emporium, a grand shop with a grand wooden plaque with gold lettering all across it saying the bazaar in the front letters. The shop is very big with a second story, probably where he lives, above his shop. The shop is currently open with a light on, and the sign that hangs out above the window says, or sorry, above the door says open.
Okay.
She strides in.
I make it a as she strides in, I make a not so grand entrance and I disappear into the shop and look for old lady. Is it Balthazar? You said.
Balthazar, yeah.
I'm
Balthazar, yeah.
perusing the wares.
I find Balthazar and pretty much just do what I do and appear right behind him, put my head on his shoulder. Hello, old friend.
Ah, Jester, ah!
Still can't get used to that, can you?
I know. Oh no.
Well, how are we doing today?
I'm doing fine. Just fine. I assume that you were sent here to be my contacts, shall we say?
Yes. Apparently, you have a missing item that needs to be not missing.
Yes.
So we're here to retrieve such said item.
He kind of looks on over and he sees Ophelia and he kind of nods. He hasn't seen her yet and he doesn't know much about Jameson. But then he looks at Azarella and he says, "No, not you again. No."
Oh,
I
you
feel
have
like,
a reputation here. Do tell.
So,
Woman,
which one we're
no, you stay at
Oh,
that
don't
door.
Don't mind her too much. She's with us. But I see you're well acquainted with her. The birdie here is a little bit of a wild card, but I don't see anything wrong with her.
He's just kind
He
of looking
seems
around.
nice.
He's just kind of looking. He's looking around, and he lets
So
out a
it-
big. Say again, not so.
So besides, darling, you are looking a little pale. I might just need to give you a second appointment.
He's looking at you like, don't even try it.
Oh, I feel there's a story here to tell. I am
It's-
intrigued.
For another time. Task at hand
Oh.
first.
Okay, we'll do it over a mug of ale or something. Isn't that what normal people do?
That is what normal people do, Jester. And he's like, aren't you at... Oh, wait. Never mind. And he shakes his head, and he looks at Ophelia. Ophelia, he talks to you, since you seem to be the,
The face.
The face. And he says, alright. The Eastern Trade Route. Route number 2. It's the one we often use when we don't want goods searched or to be harassed by bandits. It's one of the better routes to take when you want to get into Waterdeep. Well,
Mhm.
apparently so we thought. one of my caravans, even though I had expert help watching the caravan, it appears that the caravan has been stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, I do know where it is. It was just outside the Mirkwood Forest. I guarantee it will be on the edge or outskirts just of there. That is
And
the
how do you know this? Do you
I
know the person that took it?
No, but I had the help that I had hired constantly sending me messages to keep me updated on where it was being traveled. The last message that they received was just outside Mirkwood.
Do you have any idea? Um, have you run into this sort of thing before? Did you get into a recent argument with someone? How, all of a sudden, did you get the most important thing stolen away from you? That is my question.
I'm now Justice now standing beside Ophelia, not behind her.
Mhm.
He's just standing beside her, and he goes, "Well, think of it this way: you have an important item. Other people want that important item. It doesn't matter if they hate you or not. You've got the item they want; they will take it. So it's not surprising that this ever so important item was taken or commandeered. But
Hmm.
yes, the Mirkwood. Have you got any information about that, my dear friend? Because that might be an interesting piece."
He nods and he looks at Ophelia and he looks at Jester and he says, "Well, to start answering those questions. For starters, no, I don't know much about the Mirkwood. Never been out there myself. Mostly I get a lot of shipments. From what I hear, it's kind of a spooky place, but it cuts about 2 days travel time to Waterdeep, and a lot of the bandits don't like to go near there. So it becomes a real nice trade route. Other than that, I don't know much out about it. All I know is that it's dangerous. To answer your question, Miss Ophelia, about if I had an argument or something, well, there's two answers to that. One, no. Or two, well, I really have no idea. It could be a number of many. Too many to count on my hands at the moment. As for why this happened, I don't know. Maybe it has to do something with that new Thousand Arrows tribe starting to kind of regroup up there. Ophelia, do you remember the Thousand Arrows War that happened a couple hundred years ago?
Mm, do I?
Roll me a history check.
Okay.
Do all of us?
Yeah, history. Anyone can roll history.
All right, cool. I'm gonna roll the history on that one.
Same.
All right.
That's a nat 20.
Same here.
Oh my god.
21.
That was a 22 for me.
13. I have no idea. It's history. It's boring.
21.
So not so.
Oh, I wasn't gonna roll because I'm from Eberron.
Oh yeah, you're from you just got here from Eberron, you wouldn't know. So yeah, with the natural 20s, yes, the Thousand Arrows War was a war that happened a long time ago in the Silver Marches between the Thousand Arrows Orc tribe and the residents of the Silver Marches, the dwarves of Gauntlgrim and the humans of the Silver Marches. The Thousand Arrows orcs came very close to winning, but eventually they were stopped and pushed back. And the fact that the tribe is starting to regather is a bit troubling news.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is definitely troubling.
Oh, think of your store, Jester. If all of these came back, I would hate to think what they would do to such a place.
You don't care. Don't try
No,
to lie to me
no,
here.
I don't.
If you ask my professional opinion, I think the orcs are starting to get a lot braver than they used to be, and I think that they're starting to raid the caravans along the eastern and northern routes. At least that's
It
what I
would
think
not-
is happening.
I feel
As
like
much
they're
as I
planning
would-
something.
As much as
I
I would
have a-
like to say that's surprising, it's not. It only takes time before a
Uh,
clan like them rise up again.
Jester, I have a plan for you, and I think you're going to like it.
Oh,
Oh God, am I dealing with you?
yes. Yes, you are, my dear.
By the way, Ophelia, what's your passive insight?
My passive insight is 18, I believe.
Okay.
Oh, I have a higher passive insight.
Well,
nice.
I talk. I don't. I don't
Care
listen.
what other people say.
No.
All right, so that was a natural 20.
Okay.
So he
So it
seems,
wouldn't matter.
yeah, he seems pretty genuine.
Who?
The dwarf, Bazazar.
Oh, sure enough. Sure.
He's
Um.
yeah, he's nodding at you and um one last thing. As he's looking around, I'm gonna send a message to one of you because only one of you sees this.
Hmm. Anyway, Jester, the plan. Would you prefer that I give you all the details now, or when we are in our cozy little wagon?
Well, why not just do it here? Unless our current company is not adequate for your little dealing. Otherwise, here's fine.
Well, I do have very high standards. Ophelia kind of looks to the dwarf, and he's been kind enough, but she doesn't know him. And granted, she doesn't know Jester, but Jester's part of her plan, so she will say, I think it would be best if we were to talk about it in the wagon. But do remind me.
Oh, I don't think I'll have to, but sure, why not?
Who knows, maybe it will tire you out for a little bit. I joke, I know you don't tire. It's one of your many endearing qualities.
The dwarf kind of gives you guys a nod, and he says, "Well, good luck to you. Watch your backs out there." And
Yes, you too.
Well,
And he gives Jester gives this grandiose bow.
and to you, my friend, business be good with you.
I just give him a friendly nod.
So as you just to speed things up just a little bit, you guys can do what you're gonna do, but I'll say that as the final declaration, you guys are taking the carriage out to or whatever your mode of transportation you guys want to take.
Mm-hmm.
You can take the transportation out to the edge of Everwood Wood. That'll take a couple days. When you guys get there, you see a couple wagons that have been overturned on the side of the road just outside the Everblight Forest, and they are still smoldering, it seems, and they've both been knocked over. There are some crates and minor things kind of strewn about here or there, but other than that, you don't see any people or animals.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. Cool. So
And,
that's the end of game
well,
scene kind of thing.
pretty much, I would like everyone to roll a perception.
All right.
Perception.
We'll do the role play for the whatever happens in the cart after this
Yep.
as a kind of flashback, if you would.
16 plus 6. 20.
My perception is actually pretty bad.
22.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't see shit.
You're blind.
Also,
I see a 5. I see a 5 in front of me.
You're blinded by your own
you
equal.
You don't see Adarella.
18.
Where the fuck is Atharella?
Oh.
Because she
Fair
just kind of disappears.
Mm.
You just went.
Oh, I do that sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh,
I do that
that's
sometimes.
None of you see these guys. Okay, so as the last declaration before you guys do the role play, you guys go and you start to look around the wagon area.
I mean, it's immediately suspicious.
Right, it is-
Anytime
no,
that there
no.
is something turned over on the road, it's like, well, this is an ambush.
Oh yeah. No. It is kind of odd and suspicious, and those of you who are experienced can kind of watch your backs. But eventually, when you get out there, one of the wagons
It's a mimic.
It starts to move, and then you see the cloak kind of unravel, and oddly enough, one of the weirdest things jumps out of the cart on the road in front of you.
It's a jester.
2 massive spiders,
Ew.
Oh no, they need to die.
and they start to crawl towards you, and you realize that some of you with really high passive perception, you can see movement in the tall grass nearby. This is clearly an ambush, and there are humanoid figures in the grass. But as the spiders start to move towards you, they both flash and disappear, and then they both flash in front of you. These are phase spiders.
No. No.
Yes.
And And
Time
with
to play.
and with exception of the flashback, that is where the session ends.
Mm. So, Ophelia, in front of everyone in the wagon, she would say, "Well, you know how your little friend said that the orcs are getting more brave and doing their
Yeah.
thing more often?
Yes, yes, yes.
Well, I believe we need to put a stop to that. And though you may not care too much about what they're doing, I would imagine, I would think that you would like to build a bit of a reputation."
See, that does make sense. A reputation is one part of business, but
I'm sure you would find what I have to say quite funny.
okay, continue then. I'm all
Orcs.
ears.
They're orcs. They're quite quaint. And look, they're not very bright. At least the ones on the road. So what I am proposing is that we build, or rather begin to build, a bit of a reputation for you, a legacy, a boogeyman tale about the demon jester that wanders the roads. Perhaps if we can find these hooligans and we dispose of them in creative ways and string them up for examples, it will dissuade the orcs and any others who work with them to follow in their footsteps.
Oh, I get what you mean. Ah, you're talking about making a show, a song and dance of all this. Making it seem like we're doing a lot more than we actually are.
Hmm.
In a sense. I see. Yes, okay. I mean, if anything, this would just be a grandiose adventure of sorts. A bit of fun on the side.
Hmm.
I'm in. Let's do
Fabulous.
it.
And I hear all this, right?
Yeah, it's being
It's in the
spoken in
wagon.
the open in the wagon.
Yeah,
So
so
you guys really plan to mess up
I'll
freaking
play
orcs
your-
for the freaking sake of it?
No, we're
Yes.
going to be doing it because they're killing and pillaging.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So I'm about to become a demon jester, is what you're saying?
Or more of one.
Well, that looks like I'll have to figure out a way to be a little bit more. Have a bit more of a presence, as if one would
Well, we
say.
can't have people believing that we are traveling with the demon jester because that may complicate things. But if we can plant the story of the demon jester in these parts, then perhaps by the time that we leave, your lingering presence will dissuade them from being
I'm
who they
I'm
are.
gonna do an insight on you to see whether you're actually wanting that to happen or whether that's just you wanting to get me out of the cart.
so are you
Please
gonna
get in that
are
one.
you gonna roll a deception then, Bunny?
No.
Okay.
Well, my insight's a 25, so
She's telling the truth.
Ah.
okay.
What
She's
what
not
she's
just trying-
saying, no. She seems to be quite genuine.
Seems a little weird, but I mean, how do you propose that we? Do you want me to walk separate to the car just so it seems like I'm all by my lonesome? Are you just trying to get me out of the cart? Is that all?
I'm not a fool, Jester. I know that I can't get rid of you even if I wanted to. No, I am proposing that if we find information about where these bandits strike, perhaps we can put on a little bit of a play. I be the damsel in distress, and you the demon that kills that damsel in distress. And then,
Right.
well, not all of them. We need the story to spread.
So what you're basically saying is make me into a villain, but also a hero. Make me
Just
into
a story.
a boogeyman, as you said earlier.
They make for fantastic stories.
Well, I don't see how there could be an issue with that at all. He says with very heavy sarcasm in his voice.
I'm
But
so
you know
glad you
what?
agree.
But you know what? That'll be fun. Let's do it. Sounds like a spot of fun. I'm in.
Voletta and Tanric, the druid and the Psionicist blood fighter, are kind of they're sitting at you. They're kind of nodding, and Tanric kind of pipes up and he says, "That actually sounds like a pretty good idea."
I know, I'm full of them.
Once in a
Anything
while.
we can do to help?
I imagine that you guys will be doing some of the killing as well. I'm just going to be a figurehead.
Yes, we could. Oh, and she will like grow very close to like she'll lean in towards the other people in the cart and goes, "I could do your makeup. I could give you some clothes, make you look like, well, him."
They both nod.
Silence is consent. Oh, I'm so excited.
No, sweetheart. That's not. That's no. I think stay anonymous. It's
Anonymous. Yeah.
Anemone.
Shut up, you tree hugger.
You remain hidden is basically what you're trying to say.
Yes.
Yes.
I can understand that. It's fine. You don't need
Well,
to.
the
You don't need
demon
to-
jester and its pet bird, perhaps.
Oh, I like the sound of that.
Unless,
Can you
of course,
reclaim
you
the
would.
calls?
Oh, nevermore, nevermore.
I just bring out a bag of beef jerky and I just start eating it.
I
And just, like,
love-
amused by this.
I love how he's just constantly like, oh, something's happening, popcorn.
Yeah, literally.
Yes, he's just like he's always eating.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jameson is quite the tubby lad.
you have,
He's buff as hell.
Do you have anything?
Yeah, he's buff, but he's got a bit of a dad bod.
Do you have anything to say, Viagra Bird Lady?
Every fucker who's ever called me pregnant is dead with nuts.
I can't hear you over the cackling.
I think that was the point.
Well, if you didn't want,
That's it. I'm spending all my spells right now. I'm nuking this cart. Fuck off.
Yeah, you nuked the cart. Jameis is the only one that survives.
yeah,
Sorry,
right.
Jester would just misty step out.
Yeah,
All right.
He's like,
So the only person who would die is Bunny's character.
yeah.
So,
I live on in memory.
Natso, did you have anything more to do before I close the session?
No.
You're good? Okay. So then with that, the next session will begin with you guys engaging in the combat. You did manage to spot most of your attackers. However, there were some that you did not. So we will resume that when you all have time again. Thank you everyone for watching, and thank you everyone for playing. It has been one of our side stories of The Curse of Strahd, Legends of Waterdeep. I wonder what will happen to our fellows other adventurers who are currently still trapped in the lands of Ravenloft. What strange pleasantries will they find out when they eventually escape Ravenloft, if they escape at all? Good night, everyone.